So, we're gonna introduce ourselves. I am Alejandra Vargas, or Alex.
I'm Jennifer.
I'm Carolina Camacho.
So, today, thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
So today we're gonna talk about the importance of teamwork, team meetings, why it's helpful and beneficial to be in a team when it comes to group discussions or problem solving, or even at work, at school, or even when you just have a project and you need to something do. So let's start with what can be some benefits when working with a team, and what does it look like. So it's always easier to work as a team. You have more people to have knowledge. Like I might have something, you might have something to say, you might have something to say.
Different perspectives.
Yeah, different perspectives. So it's like we all can input something, instead of like if it was just by myself, I'll probably just have my own opinion and my view. So it's kind of like a more close-minded sort of perspective of it.
Open-minded.
Well, if it's
If his only hair is close now.
Oh.
yeah. So it would be, less information, and if there would be different tasks, if we would all be, working as a team, you would be able to get a task, I would get a task, you would get a task, and it would be more towards our strength. Maybe I'm good at talking, I can, do the talking of it. You're good at researching, you can do the researching. You can do the notes, you're good at taking notes, good writing, you can do notes. So that's what, chapter 10 and 11 is about, is communication. How communication skills and teamwork is actually also one of the most important skills or traits to have. And a lot of times that's what workers at a job, what they're looking for is communication and teamwork. So if you don't know how to communicate with, your co-workers, it's going to end up probably affecting, your job. And so again, what can be some benefits with working as a team? Good leadership. You would always want, someone to at least be more towards like the leader. Like, that person, for instance, can text everybody, hey, we're going to meet up at this time, at this location. And there could be like group text sent out. So then there's always good communication within the team. Do you guys have anything you guys want to add about beneficial or what good teamwork looks like?
I like what you said about having a leader, because in my club at school, the president, or she's not really the president, but she's kind of the leader. She kind of knows everyone. She can text everyone in the group chat. If like I don't know someone that's new to the group, she'll help to bring us together as a group. So she's a very good leader.
Yeah, it's there's always good leaders is having good communication, being self-taught, like they understand the problems and the issues and they can address them without any screaming or discussion. If there is any discussion or any issues within the group, you guys can always take it outside the meeting. Don't just have the argument in the meeting. So with that, it leads to what are some problems you can face when being in a group?
Drama.
Oh, yes.
In my case, I work in an office, so we are different people's different backgrounds, and everybody have to want to have their own opinion, and it's always drama. It's always like who have to do that, who have to do that. Nobody have to want to take responsibility for the whatever is wrong. That and working in groups, I think they have the good things. Then everybody are in the same boat, and everybody have the same goals. So it's easier to get a task done.
Yeah, and then so with that, there is primary attention. So when a group first starts, together, like let's just say like if we would have not really known each other, we would end up being timid, we would end up being shy, we would end up not really knowing, what to say or how to act, because we don't really know the other people's personalities. So we end up being all shy and stuff. So that's primary attention. once like time goes on and we all start knowing each other, it would be secondary tension, which you're talking, she's talking, I'm talking, we're all talking, we all have something to say, we all want something to say, nothing really gets done, there's arguments. So then there's like tension amongst personality, our own personality, and that's also, you know, not good in a team. So there's a lot of problems when it comes to, you know, somebody not doing something, somebody not doing their task, somebody just slacking off or just never in the meeting, always late, which of course that's where the team leader ends up, you know, saying like, hey, you know, just make sure you're always here on time and something, you know, just towards things like that. Anything, Jenny, you would want to add with problem solving? You've had anything like that?
Building off of what you said, in my class of English class, we have a lot of creative discussions, and we're all 15, 16-year-olds. We're all pretty rowdy, and so there's a lot of secondary tension since we all know each other. There's not really primary tension. We all get pretty rowdy pretty fast. We all talk and argue and stuff, and the leader would be my teacher, who like quiets us down, makes sure that we're on task and talking correctly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know that in my English class also, like she would always have us read, and we would have to get into group work, group communication, and a lot of times what helps us is that we would just go around and be like, you know, what do you want to say first, and then what do you want to say first, what do you want to say first. Now a lot of times, you know, we would have to do that, and you know, it being college, we kind of already know, like, hey, you know, just be quiet, let somebody else speak. And if you want to, don't just interrupt, always have something. Which tension is actually good when it comes to teams, just because it helps us understand, like, kind of push us. Because if there's kind of like tension, motivation. Because if there's tension or kind of like, not jealousy, but more like competition, they can be like motivate us, like, oh, I want to do better, and I want to do better. In the end, we can all collaborate, you know, together, collaborate our ideas, and we can end up being better. So with that, it's what is important of decision making and problem solving as a team. So it's important, like I said, you know, always have, you know, important to always have somebody to be the leader. So for example, like if we all have, you know, we need to solve a problem and make a decision, you can input your opinion, she can input her opinion, I can input my opinion, we can all lay it down on the table. We can either have 2/3 of the vote, we can either have half and half, or we can have let's say, for example, let's say we all have input, so we all just can make the decisions. So it's very important to, like, that we can, you know, solve each problem. We can end up all just having better communication and just solving the problem in a task, because if there's a task in hand, it's easier to get things handled, you know. So that is the discussion. Remember, you know, teamwork, communication is better with a group to have 6 to 7 people, odd number. We all interact, we all have an input, we all can talk. So that's it. Thank you, and